Hi guys, how are you? Hope you're all doing well and fine, because I am too. So this video is on why I moved to Africa. Um, there are several reasons why, and I will go through it in the video. Um, but I know for some people it's quite, strange. Why would you want to leave the diaspora? Why would you want to leave the West? Why would you want to leave the first world for a developing country or for the third world? Well, it's all a matter of perspective, you know? Um, for me, Africa is home because that's where my roots reside. Um, Africa is our ancestral land, so it's our birthright. And Africa is the beginning of civilization. It's where our rich culture, you know, um, comes from, our rich traditions come from. And why would you want to miss out on that beautiful experience? You can put a lion in a zoo, but its natural habitat is in the wild. So I believe my natural habitat is Africa, you know, because that's where my ancestors were from, you know, even though I wasn't born in Africa, you know, but by DNA, by ancestral right, this is our land. So, yeah, there are several reasons why I decided to move. One of the main reasons have been is I visited Africa for the first time 5 years ago. I went with a former best friend. We had a really good time. And what I really liked about that experience is I got to experience the rich culture that I knew of, the rich culture that I had the opportunity to experience to the extent growing up, with my grandparents. And also as well, I just liked, the way I love the weather, number one. I love the way that the people were so, even though they were considered poor, or you considered the children poor, but they were playing, they were happy. They were having fun. They would be playing with dirt on, the floor, playing with football, and but they didn't have it all. They didn't have the gadgets, but they were content with what they had. I liked that contentment, because it's going back to basics, it's going back to nature, it's going back to ourselves. And I just like that aspect. I love it because in the West, I live very minimalist. So I'm a minimalist person. So for me, I don't require much. So I like Africa because it's, especially if you don't live in the city, it's simple. I live in a city currently, but it's simple. You it's so you naturally become content. You naturally come content with your environment, with the nature. And I like the way, I also saw the way the children were. You'd see them walking to school with their younger siblings. They'll be like a year or two between each of them, and they'll be walking to school together. Some be as young as maybe 2 or 3, and they were so independent. Yeah. And you just, from a young age, they had that sense of independence and responsibility. And also as well, I saw children like selling on the streets, like trading, you know for money and things like that. And I know for some people they're like, oh, but it's wrong, children shouldn't be doing that. Yeah, I get it, but that's also a form of education for them, because they're learning a skill, because that skill is their survival. And a lot of them, for generations, all they've done is trade. for survival. So from that Western perspective, it's like, oh, children shouldn't be doing this. But I just looked at the children and saw how smart, how intelligent they were. The environment really, really brought out their intelligence, because they were so independent from such a young age, and they developed skills that you wouldn't naturally develop in nanny state environment at such a young age. Yeah, I love that, I love the way the people are so happy, so warm, and it's just something about being on the ancestral land. You just feel at one, at peace. And likewise as well, last year was another reason. Last year during the whole, Black Lives Matter, the whole, marching on the streets, it's been happening for decades, centuries, and it's like, when is it going to end? At what point are we going to stop begging for rights? At what point are we going to stop begging for a seat at the table and start creating our own table? So at that point, I did not even get involved even emotionally. I totally turned off to what was going on news or what they were saying about the march or on social media. I completely ignored it because I was just like, it's so overwhelming for a Black person in the diaspora to be continually faced with this prejudice every day, and it's continuing in your face, and you're just using your energy for the wrong things, right? When you have a whole continent full of resources and opportunities, and it's just playing away. I know it seems hard for others, but Africa is really where it is at. Africa is the future. That's where the resources lie. We are feeding the rest of the world, and if you want to have a piece of any cake or you want to have a chair at any table, it should be at Africa's table, not the West. You will either want to be the parent or the child, and trust me, the parent always teaches the lesson. So I rather be where it's at, and that's Africa, and like I said, it's our birthright. So moving to Africa, you have access to the resources, and you can use those resources to help build communities, help support communities, and help leave a legacy for those communities as well, and for yourself, instead of, for me, something that wasting my energy in something that's pointless, fighting a seat on someone else's table when I could create my own table, and I was just sick of this whole culture appropriation culture, where to get a job or in the corporate world, because I've worked in the corporate world for many years, you have to sound a certain way, you have to talk a certain way, you can't respond or react in a certain way because somebody would have a stereotype about you, or there is that stereotype of how a Black woman will be and things like that. So your whole persona, your hair, everything is politicized. I couldn't even have my hair in braids. It's not like it was written, it's just that I felt uncomfortable about the way I was going to be perceived at work. And because I want to assimilate as much as possible with my colleagues and not create any form of barrier, of course, you naturally create the same hairstyles, as the other women, and with the straight hair and everything else like that. So all those forms of conditioning, as I started to realize, the negative connotations of them, it started to make me feel uncomfortable being in the West. If you're in a place where you can't be yourself, but you're still fighting to be at the table. Why? You know, you don't see any other race of people doing that. So why would I, why are we continually dishonoring our own self, So those are the main reasons, and especially for me as well. Another point is I'm an entrepreneur, so I run my own businesses. Before I came out here, and when I started running my own business, I did it for the fact that I no longer wanted my pay to be dictated by the corporate world. I wanted to be in control of my own finances. I wanted to take control, and I didn't want my ambitions to be limited by, an organization or things like something like that. So I decided that I was going to take control, and I started my own business a few years ago, and I loved it because I didn't have to feel uncomfortable. I could dictate how my business is run. I could dictate how much I take home, how many hours I work, if I want to travel for a month or two. So moving to Africa just suited me because it's like I'm an entrepreneur. I can still continue my business wherever I am globally. And it's even better because I'm now in Africa and I get to experience it and enjoy it and not worry about, finances because I already have my online business. So that just made it easier to move. The fact that I have my online business and I can run it from anywhere in the world. Yeah, so those are the main reasons for me why I wanted to move. And another point to add, I've never, when I grew up, I grew up in, areas and schools that were majority, white. And I don't say anything wrong with that, but as a black person, you always feel like odd, and because of the negative stereotypes against black people, after a while you take that on, and then you're always trying to subconsciously fight against those stereotypes. So you're trying to assimilate because you're always trying to fight against those stereotypes. So that is even emotionally, psychologically draining, So for me, I've never grown up in an environment or society where it's just all black people and, black dominated. And I just always wanted to know what that was like, because I go into a room, nobody looks at me oddly because everybody's black. I can go into a shop, no one's going to follow me in the shop because everybody's black, So if they was to follow me, they're going to follow me for another reason, not because of my skin color, So I just like that. I love it, I never have to say, oh, is it because I'm black? So I like that aspect. And and also as well, it's always been a thing of, these are like in the West, these are the top 10 black millionaires, or people like Oprah, they refer to as, the billionaires and all that kind of stuff. Well, in Africa, there's several Oprahs, there's several, Jay-Z's and things like that. There's loads of African billionaires and millionaires. So I was like, wow, imagine being in a country where the top 5% or top 1% look like you. Imagine how that will make you feel. They look like you. They represent you, Even if you was going to go for a corporate job, everybody is a representation of you, And imagine what that would do for your self-esteem, what that would do for any young black person, So, and this is on a psychological level, because a lot of the times we don't even realize it on a conscious level, but these things affect us subconsciously, you know. So just for the fact that you're on the African continent where they're full of black billionaires and millionaires, it just creates a new realm of possibilities, you know, because you can relate, you can relate, and I know there's a lot of work to do in the diaspora, sorry, in Africa, but it's a developing, you know, world. It's a developing world. And imagine being part of that development, because a lot of these like places like Dubai, a couple of decades ago was like just desert, and now it's fully developed, so you got to see ahead. Africa is developing. It is really developing, and those opportunities are to be taken now. There's so many opportunities in different industries and different sectors. You can create your own table. There's a lot of opportunities in agriculture, in technology in Africa. You can be part of the infrastructure, help support and build infrastructure, electricity, solar power, and things like that. There's just so much opportunities that you could get into, or you could start, that you couldn't do elsewhere, and because there is such a large population, a lot of the work you don't even have to do for yourself, because you can employ others, so that's one to think about. And another point I should make is I love doing my hair. I love doing my hair. I love doing my hair, guys. Look at my hair, look how long it is. And I can just do my hair every week. I know it's such a silly reason, but I can do my hair every week. And it's so lovely braided. So lovely. I've had this for like 3 weeks. So neat. And so neat. And it's so, you get my hair so cheaply done, so neat, and I can wear my hair the way I like, and I don't have to wear a wig if I don't want to. And I don't have anything against wigs. I wear wigs sometimes, and I wear weaves sometimes, but I can wear it without any form of discrimination or stereotype, and I can wear my hair that reflects my culture and my traditions, and I do like that aspect. And also as well, I love going out. I'm a very sociable person. I like going to the clubs, bars, all forms of social activities, horse riding, and I can do that in Africa. I love nature. I absolutely love nature. Like, I've been to the zoo here since I've been here. I've documented all of it, so I'll post it soon. I've been to the zoo. I've been to conservation centres. I've been to like agricultural science labs, and so I will show you all of that. And I just absolutely love nature. So I just love Africa because it's just so natural, It's so natural, I just love, you walk down the road and you look up at a tree, and you see mangoes, you see bananas, you see oranges, coconuts, all these fresh foods, you can get, and it's so affordable. And I love, because I eat organically, so we can get all this organic produce, sourced locally, so I love that. I absolutely love it. Yeah. And another aspect, like, I just like the whole social scene. I can go out every day of the week if I want, not just on a weekend, because bars are open every day of the week. Africans, they love to party, clubs, all that. So I just love that aspect. And also as well, if you like the simple life, you like the lady of leisure lifestyle, you know, you could always employ house help, you know, and a driver and things like that. So, you know, you can you can have a comfortable standard of living, you know, on a humble budget. So I like all those aspects, and I would say those are the few reasons why, or why I was so convinced to move. And I will be documenting my journey for you, my activities, and vlogging it for you all. And you guys will come and visit, like, journey with me, and whilst I go to the mines, and I'm going for a mountain visit as well. So hopefully you guys can also come along, because I'll vlog that. And yeah, so tune in for the next video soon.